We are now, I think, ready to get into why you're here, Arthur, to really get into the coaster by coaster account of what's coming in 2021. And the first one here on our list, like you said, is Dino's Wonder Wheel Amusement Park, the Phoenix. And if you were joining us live on Tuesday night as we're recording the podcast, you're seeing video right now of both Mike, myself, and Arthur, plus video that, Mike, you're rolling in of each of the roller coasters we're going to talk about tonight.
Yeah.
But a special thing that we're doing is anybody on the live look-in tonight can also put in their vote as we go through each of these roller coasters in our 2021 preview with Arthur Levine. They can say, this roller coaster is a must ride. It looks decent. It could be better. Or I'd skip it.
And that's what's going to be fun. I'm excited about this because this will add to our discussion. As we're sitting here looking at the Phoenix, the audience can chime in and say, hey, am I going to ride this ride? Will I travel a long way to see it? It's going to really be good. I'm excited about this.
Okay, so let's do this. We've talked about Phoenix. Now in the audience who's watching live here on Tuesday night has had a chance to vote. What are they saying? Like, is it a must ride? Does it look decent? What are they saying?
Yeah, right now it looks around 80% of the audience. And look, and this is what's fun is you can see the numbers kind of changing.
Changes, yes.
Yeah, as we're talking, because people are voting at vote.coasterradio.com. About 75% of the audience saying it looks decent, 25% saying it's a must ride.
Yeah, this is a good one. I think it's a must ride for me and you. I think we already have plans with Dino to get up to Coney Island sometime this summer. Fingers crossed that New York will open up and let us get up to Coney Island this year to actually go to the parks and ride Dino's Wonder World. Now we have, what do we have, like 30, 40 different coasters we have to get through, so we cannot spend all of our time
We've got a
going
lot.
back and talking about Phoenix again. We do have to move on. Arthur, I see here on the second coaster on the list is probably the most anticipated roller coaster of the past, 3 years at this point.
Yeah, it's the Velocicoaster at Universal Orlando's Islands of Adventure. I believe that this is the most extreme coaster at a destination theme park. I think you guys would probably agree. We're talking about a launch coaster that's going to hit 70 miles an hour. It's going to have a 90-degree, 155-foot top hat tower. It'll have a 100-foot long zero-G stall. So we've got inversions. And, of course, it's also going to have effects and a story to tell with Jurassic World. And so you'll be on the hunt with or from velociraptors. I'm not entirely sure. And, this is an Intamin coaster. Intamin also did Hagrid's motorbike adventure, and that is a fabulous coaster. I expect this one to be even more intense and equally wonderful. There are pros and cons. The Intamin coaster Hagrid's is really great. The cons is it's had a lot of downtime. I hope that the same cannot be said for a Velocicoaster. We'll have to wait and see on that.
Yeah, I remember when this first came out, I was, first the name kind of shocked me a little bit. I was like, oh. Yeah. And I just wasn't sure what this was going to be like with Hagrid's coming, just so close behind. And now that I'm seeing it, and we just saw a little video right there, it just looks amazing. And look at the audience right now, 100% of everyone watching saying must ride. So now what's going to be interesting is a little later on, we're going to talk about Iron Gwazi, another roller coaster in the state of Florida. Which of those two, maybe we can debate it at the end about which of those two is going to be the top ride of the year. That's going to be interesting. Yeah.
That's going to be a tough one.
Yeah, I'm excited about that. And now the EB and I have talked about this being the spot of our first meetup post-COVID because of Velocicoaster. That's how good it looks. And I love seeing all of the different little special effects that are coming into the ride. You see them delivering those day after day. I think that's fun.
And I think the lighting packages have been a new trend in roller coasters the last couple of years. So this one has a really cool lighting package where they're putting the lights on the trains themselves, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Looks really sharp at night. Yeah, they've showed there's been some video that we've seen of it.
Yeah. And people are actually starting to get to ride it. They're actually doing some, I don't know if it's testing or shoots for the commercial, because it had some signs up around Velocicoaster that said hot set. And it looked like they might have been shooting for, the promo videos and commercials that are coming up. So imagine those lucky people getting to ride that, but shows you how fast they got it. And look at that audience, man, 100%. saying must ride. Nobody's saying skip it. So that's a good one.
Oh, yeah. Everybody wants to ride Velocicoaster.
Yeah.
No surprise there.
Yeah. So let's move on. Let's go to Idaho and Silverwood Park, a park I've always wanted to visit. Never had a chance to get there. But they've got a brand new ride coming this year called Stunt Pilot.
Yeah, and that's going to be an RMC Raptor single rail coaster. We've seen these before. It's like Wonder Woman Golden Lasso at Six Flags Fiesta, Texas, which I had the chance to ride. These are great coasters. They're just so much fun. Really compact. They don't take up much of a footprint, but man, do they pack a punch. And that single rail configuration allows the coaster to have these really abrupt but very nimble transitions, and I love it. And you got the low slung seats, and you're straddling the track. It's really quite a wonderful experience, and very unique for anybody who's never been on one. There's only a few of them out there, so and I know probably I haven't seen the poll results here. The very smart Coaster Radio audience may say, yeah, it's just another RMC Raptor coaster. Who cares? But for the people in the greater Athol area, I'm sure that this will be, huge news.
Oh, yeah.
This is going to be a really important coaster for Silverwood, I think.
Yeah, the votes are split here, but 60% of the audience saying must ride. 20% saying looks decent, and then 10% split between could be better and skip it. So I think it comes down to if you've ridden an RMC Raptor in the past, right? If you've ridden one already, you don't need to ride the same exact one again. But if you, like Arthur was saying, if this is going to be the one that's closest to you at Silverwood, then you're excited about this because you want to ride an RMC Raptor. I can't believe that we don't have more of these being built this year. I think maybe next year is when we're going to see a lot of announcements for these Raptor coasters to be going into a lot of parks because like Arthur was saying, they have a small footprint, they pack a huge punch. And they get a lot of hype, and they look really good too. And
I think from a park's perspective, I think they're relatively reasonably priced as well. I think you get sort of a big bang for your buck with an RMC Raptor.
Yeah, and I'm thinking about the person out in Idaho who probably doesn't get a chance maybe to travel around, and then this shows up, they're going to go nuts. They're going to go crazy.
Thinking about the person in Idaho driving their tractor.
That's what I pictured.
Looking out at their potato field.
Yeah. It's probably not like that.
Raptor coaster, what's that?
They've got Olive Gardens there, I'm sure, EB. I'm sure it's all fun, but this is big news to them. We like everybody who's voting, 14% skip it. You got to think of the farmer out in Idaho who's excited.
No, and I love the fact that this is coming to Silverwood too. I mean, this is a great park that I really would like to get to. Silverwood is a big park out in the middle of. Well, it's in the middle of Idaho, Mike. This is a great park to get something to grow and to do something special like this. It's great.
And I love that the audience continues to vote. The numbers moving around. This is really fun.
Oh, yeah, changing. So we're convincing them, I think. We're convincing them.
I think so. Pretty cool. So here's a ride I'm excited to talk about. And I think it might be one of those dark horse contenders for one of the best rides of the year. It's Icebreaker at SeaWorld Orlando. Looks fantastic.
Yeah, this is a premier skyrocket. I think you guys, I know that you guys were at Six Flags Magic Mountain. I think you probably got to ride Full Throttle, one of my favorite coasters, which is also a Skyrocket coaster. I'm not as crazy about the Skyrocket 2 coasters like Tempesto at Busch Gardens, Williamsburg, but this is a custom one. This one looks great. It's going to be a family coaster. There are no inversions. One thing that's interesting, we're seeing it right now on the live look in here. It's one of these multi-pass coasters where you go forwards and backwards and forwards, and you see little camelback hills there. So you're going to experience airtime while you're heading backwards, which is kind of an unusual thing. And then eventually it's gonna go up that 93-foot tall Junior Scorpion, come back down at 100-degree, greater than free fall angle, and it's going to then navigate an 80-foot tall Top Hat. As I said, there are no inversions, so this will be an accessible coaster for a wide audience. I'm not sure what the height requirement is. I'm guessing it's going to be probably like 48 inches or something like that. So, kids will be able to enjoy this with their families. And it looks like a great coaster for SeaWorld.
Yeah, I really like the looks of this. And I'm so excited not only to get on this ride, but also Pantheon at Busch Gardens, because it's going to have that sort of back and forth launch motion that we've seen in a lot of roller coasters in Europe. So I'm excited to see people's reaction to that here in the States. It looks fun. It's a different way of kind of getting in to the meat of a roller coaster.
Well, it's two different roller coasters in one, like we talked about a little bit in past episodes of coasterradio.com, where you're getting this shuttle coaster experience, but then you get to run the full circuit at the same time.
Yeah, I like that. The audience saying about 77% saying looks decent.
Sure.
Yeah, 14-15% saying must ride, and the rest kind of down at the lower end. So that's about, I guess, what I would think. But I think this is one of those that as sense. People wrote it, that must ride might go higher. I think it might surprise people. You know, that's what I'm thinking.
I think I'd agree with that.
Yeah. All right, so let's move on to another one of these single rail roller coasters, but I'm excited to see what people think about this. It's a Six Flags Great Adventure. It is the Jersey Devil. And even though the video that we're showing right now on the live look-in says it's coming in 2020, that, of course, got bumped to this year, yes?
They just finished topping this off. This is well on its way to wrapping up, and supposedly it's gonna debut this year. And here's hoping that that everything sort of aligns so that it can open. This will be the first custom Raptor single rail coaster, considerably longer than the off-the-shelf ones that we've seen so far, a bit taller and a bit faster. This will be 3,000 feet compared to the 1,800 feet of the existing one. So, not quite double, but much, much longer. And I was talking before about how one of the great things about these Raptor coasters are those abrupt inversions and how nimble they can handle them, because you've only got that single rail and you've got this very narrow train. But here, the transitions are not nearly as abrupt. There's a lot of space in between them. So it's going to be a different experience. And I look forward to trying it to see what that different experience will be like. It's really weird sitting on this single rail track, sitting low to the ground, having nothing to the left or to the right of you, no people, no track, no nothing. It's really a weird experience. I think I remember maybe EB, you talking about that you were at Fiesta, Texas. I think you got to ride Wonder Woman, right? So you know what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah, it's such a very unique roller coaster experience, and how wonderful it is to have an experience that is different riding a roller coaster, and the fact that Wonder Woman, The Lasso of Truth, was so weird and so intense and so unexpected. I think Jersey Devil is just something that I really look forward to. So, Mike, I already voted on this one. I said must ride.
Yeah.
I really want to. We're probably going to go up to Coney Island. If we do go to Coney Island, if it does open, a must stop is going to ride Jersey Devil.
Yeah.
Great Adventure.
Well, the question I had for you guys is both of you have ridden these single rail coasters. Talk to me about the intensity of this, because compared to Wonder Woman and the other ones that I've seen, this looks to be way more intense. Talk about the intensity level.
Well, I think like Arthur was saying, the transitions don't seem as intense. It seems bigger and faster, but the transitions, Wonder Woman, it just throws you around constantly.
Yeah, and abruptly. I mean, it just really quickly. You go left and you go right. It's just like so abrupt. Where you're not going to get that on Jersey Devil. There's going to be much more space in between the elements. Right. So it'll be a different experience.
Yeah. Well,
so can Jersey Devil, deliver like soaring thrills as a single rail roller coaster?
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting to see.
Well, 87% of the audience is with you guys saying must ride. Cool. So it looks like already the audience really looking forward to that. It looks like it could be a hit. So this is pretty exciting. So now let's go out to Iowa to Adventureland. We're going to take a look at Dragon Slayer. This looks, now with the video that we're actually showing online is of another similar roller coaster. This is something that Adventureland did put out. So gives you an idea of what it is. But looks fun. Looks like it'll throw you around a little bit.
It's a 4D3 spin, right?
Yeah.
Right. And again, the educated Coaster Radio audience has seen this many times before. This is an SNS 4D free spin. We've seen this at many Six Flags parks. Did you guys know that this was designed by Alan Schilke?
Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah.
Who is the guy who designs the RMC coasters. Great guy. Had a chance to interview him. He's very prolific. Seemed to have his hand in all kinds of projects, including this.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a weird experience. I would say that this is sort of a novelty coaster. It's not really a full-fledged coaster experience. It's more about the spins and It's kind of like the Jiffy Pop of amusement park rides. It's as much fun to watch as it is to ride.
Yeah.
And you older folks will get the Jiffy Pop commercial illusion. Maybe not younger ones. So.
Yeah. This to me seems like one of those rides that you do it once for the credit, and then you walk by it the rest of the time you're at the park for years and just go, oh, there it is. I remember I rode that.
Well, and then when you bring a friend to the park, you ride it with them. But
yes,
you would
right.
never do it on your own.
Yeah,
right?
You never do it. Yeah, there's tons of rides I have like that where I'm like, I remember I rode that 10 years ago. It was all right then.
I don't need to do it again.
I don't need, you don't need to do it again. So the audience kind of with us on this, 46% saying they're going to skip it, 31% saying it could be better. A big goose egg for the must ride. So, that's how it goes.
But then again, the folks in Iowa, they're going to love this. And it's a really dynamic looking coaster. I mean, it really makes a statement. You look at this thing and it's like, what the heck is this contraption doing? So it's a great conversation piece. It's a great marketing tool. And it's a fun ride. It's just, certainly not your typical coaster.
Yeah. And by the way, thanks to everybody who is joining us here for the live look-in and voting on this. This makes it so much more fun, very interactive. It's really cool to have you guys with us. So we appreciate that. So the next one here, we actually don't have a video for. It's just a photo, but it's of the attraction at Cedar Point. They haven't released any video of it yet. It's called Snake River Expedition.
Yeah.
But this is one of those rides that I'm just curious to see what it's going to be like when it finally opens.
Cedar Point can pull it off.
Yeah.
They haven't really said too much about this. This was supposed to be the highlight of their 150-year celebration, which unfortunately never really got to celebrate in 2020. So they're delaying their 150-year celebration till this year, and will be releasing Snake River Expedition. It's kind of like the Jungle Cruise, I guess. There's going to be a narrator at the front of the boat, and you're going to be going on a bit of an expedition and seeing who knows what. But we'll find out, I guess, when this thing debuts.
Yeah.
I was going to say, too, there's going to be other things for the 150 years, including a big nighttime parade with floats that will pay homage to Cedar Point rides of the past 150 years. This is going to be a very ambitious parade with over 100 performers, so kind of a big deal for Cedar Point to be doing something like this.
Yeah. And I'm curious just to see how it's received. I'm also very curious to see the actors that they put on, because I think on rides like this, it's all about the experience that you get of the ride. All depends on how good of an actor you get who's drawing the boat, just like on Jungle Cruise. Like if you get a fantastic skipper, you have a fantastic ride. But I've actually been on the Jungle Cruise before where the skipper actually says, "Now, ladies and gentlemen, the sights and sounds of the jungle," and they just put down the throttle, and that was it. That's all we got. It was at the end of the night. He was tired, and I actually found it kind of funny. But I thought about the poor family who came all the way from Kansas, and that was their one ride on the Jungle Cruise.
Right,
and they got
their lifetime experience on Jungle Cruise.
Yeah. So
no,
I know you guys did away with the news segment at the top of the show, but did you see the news today that they're going to be making some updates to the Jungle River Cruise?
Oh yes, we should talk about that. We should talk about that a little bit. Because that is, some big news from this week. And just like we saw kind of a reimagining of Splash Mountain, it looks like there's going to be maybe an additional storyline added to Jungle Cruise that gets rid of some of the old cultural depictions that probably needed to go long ago. But it looks exciting.
The excuse that they're giving is that the new movie's coming out and they're now going to be going through the Jungle Cruise attraction. As a passenger, you're seeing the boat that went before you.
That's right.
That went through some trouble. And then you're seeing all of those passengers going through stuff. So no longer will you see the really, really awful, terribly offensive depictions of natives and that sort of thing, which is a good thing, a very, very good thing, and long overdue. It seems like this is something that should have been really obvious, and I'm surprised it took all the way until now to figure this out and swap things.
Yeah, and kind of the neat thing, too, is there'll be more of a unified storyline rather than just kind of a bunch of random scenes. So yeah, as you said, there's going to be this through line where a boat before you got into some sort of trouble, and you'll see the trouble that they got into as you go through the cruise.
Yeah, and I'm kind of excited that jungle skippers actually become characters in this, right. So that's fun. It kind of I think there's been kind of a culture of the jungle skipper, that's developed over the last decade or so. And I think that's one of the reasons they kind of saw this as an opportunity. So that's pretty good. But let's go back and take a look at the Snake River Expedition, the poll there. This is kind of what I expected. 73% of the audience saying it looks decent, 7% saying it's a must ride, 13% saying skip it. So it's kind of what you'd expect from a Coaster Radio audience.
Well, I think the Coaster Radio audience is probably really interested to see what a copycat Disney attraction is going to look like at Cedar Fair's Premier Park.
Yeah.
Can they pull it off?
Yeah. It's a great opportunity for Cedar Fair and Cedar Point to really do something special, especially for their 150th anniversary. I'm really super excited by that. Here's another ride that I'm super excited about. It is the Bolt.
Another weird one.
Yeah, this is so weird, but it looks so fun, Arthur, doesn't it?
It does. One of the things, well, let's talk about it a little bit first, then I'll tell you one of my concerns about it. This is a Maurer spike coaster. If you notice here, for the people who are looking in, it is also a single rail coaster, and it is the first coaster at sea. It's on the Carnival Cruise Line's Mardi Gras, which is going to be this, I guess, really sort of their signature boat, their signature ship in the cruise in their cruise line, and there will be no lift hill or anything that you would expect from a typical coaster. It's essentially just a large oval, and the cars are 2-passenger cars, and the person sitting in the front of the car will have the ability to control the speed using sort of like a motorcycle throttle. My concern about this is that the throughput, the capacity is going to be really, really low. And even though there's sort of a limited audience on a cruise ship, I think the wait time for this thing is going to be enormous.
Yeah.
Now, will they be forgiving because they're going to be on a cruise ship and out at sea and, hopefully under sunny skies? Probably. But that is sort of an inherent problem with with these type of spike coasters.
Yeah, I kind of wonder if they're going to do something like we've seen with the virtual queuing, maybe even, or like where you have to sign up for a time to ride it to make sure everybody on the boat who wants to ride it gets a chance.
That would make sense.
And everybody's literally at this park, the boat, 24/7, right? So they're always there. So could they run this thing day and night? It'll be interesting to see how that all works out.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm excited. But I'm excited to see these start to pop up on ships, and who knows, maybe some other people, other cruise lines might do that as well. So let's take a look at what the audience says. This is surprising. 44% say skip it, while 44% say looks decent.
Okay, so it's kind of split, like take it or leave it. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought that might get more, especially the opportunity to make the ride go as fast as you want.
Control the speed. I know. Wouldn't that be great?
And I like on the video we were watching, you actually see the speed on a little readout in front of you. That's cool. I think that's neat. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. That's kind of so. One thing we wanted to do tonight, we had some rides on our rundown that we wanted to discuss, but they've pretty much been moved past 2021. But it's still kind of fun to talk about them. And, you never know. Anything could happen, as we're finding out in the past couple of years. Anything could happen. So, Arthur, why don't we talk about some of these that are coming up? One that I'm looking forward to getting back down to Disney to ride is Tron Light Cycle Run, because that was a ride I thought we'd have to go to Shanghai to ride.
Yeah, and I agree with you that it's unlikely that these are going to open in 2021. However, I wouldn't be surprised if either Tron Light Cycle Run, or we're going to be talking next about Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind, I wouldn't be surprised if maybe one of those opens in time for the 50th anniversary of Walt Disney World, which will be celebrated in early October this year. Disney hasn't made any announcement one way or another about these things. They're continuing to build them. And I think that they may be ready to go. And, they want to wait until they can get a critical mass of people there, until the capacity limits can be lifted and they can fully celebrate, I think, the 50th anniversary. And hopefully that will happen in October. And, fingers crossed it will. So I wouldn't be surprised to see maybe one of these open, maybe not, who knows. But Tron Light Cycle Run, I did have the privilege and the honor of going to Shanghai Disneyland and riding Tron there. It is, without a doubt, Disney's best coaster.
Oh, wow. All right.
Absolutely. And I would imagine this is going to be a clone. It's Disney's fastest coaster at almost 60 miles an hour. As you can see, for people looking in here, you ride in sort of these motorcycle-like seats. They are the light cycles, and you become a program like in the movie Tron, and you enter the grid. This thing is so high tech and so lavishly themed. Not just the ride itself, but even the queue is just incredibly slick and high tech. I got to ride this in multiple positions. When you ride in the front seat of this, you have uninhibited views, and you just really feel like you're in the movie and you're the program riding through the Tron universe. Yeah. But when you ride in the last row, in the last car, you get to see all of the lit up cars in front of you, the lit up light cycles, and it's such a neat looking thing. Going to be a great coaster. The second one, which I think you just showed there, is Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind.
Yep.
Not much is known about this. But it will be one of the world's longest indoor coasters. Disney is pitching this as a storytelling coaster, kind of like the Omni-Mover vehicles in their dock rides. The cars will be able to pivot and direct people's attention to the media and the show scenes that they're going to encounter in the building. A fun fact: the show building for this is going to be 12 stories tall and so immense that 4 spaceship Earths could fit inside.
Oh my gosh.
And I know that sounds nutty, but this comes from Disney itself, comes from Bob Chapek, actually, who said this. So we're talking about an enormous show building. Hence, I believe them when they say this will be one of the world's longest indoor coasters. Obviously going to be lavishly themed. There's a good reason why they've got those pivoting coaster cars, because there's going to be lots to look at inside here. So, this is one of those dock ride / coasters that hopefully will be as much fun to experience as a dock ride as it will as a coaster.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm wondering how close this is going to be in terms of a ride experience to Escape from Gringotts, because it kind of looks similar in terms of what the cars can do, although this looks way more like a roller coaster than that was, for sure.
Right. Gringotts, of course, you have those multiple seats, very, very large very large cars. This will be just very small cars that can very nimbly pivot, and I think you'll feel more like you're sort of on your own journey rather than sharing it with a whole bunch of other people.
Yeah. Here's a ride that I was really. First, let me just quickly say 83% saying that's a must ride. So I think that's good. Something that everybody's really super excited about. Here's a ride that I am looking forward to maybe most, just to see what the reaction of theme park fans is going to be, and that's the Aquaman Power Wave. That's actually postponed to 2022. So we've got to wait a while before we check this out.
Yeah, and this is going to be a U-shuttle coaster. It'll go backwards and forwards up 90-degree spikes on either end. It's going to use magnetic, LSM motors. It would be a multi-pass coaster where it will go forwards and backwards, and then on its last pass, the reservoir in the middle is going to fill up, and you're going to have this enormous splash. A huge splashdown. So it's kind of a weird combination of a coaster and a splashdown ride. And I am curious about this too. Not a big thrill of getting really wet on rides. That's not my thing. I hate squishy underwear and squishy socks, but so hopefully that doesn't happen, but it looks like it probably will.
Yeah.
So we're going to have to wait and see what this will be like till 2022.
Yeah.
What do you think about the decision for Six Flags deciding to delay this one more year to double capacity by adding the turntable?
Well, I don't know if it's because of the decision to do the additional construction or if it's COVID related and they just want to make sure that they can, no pun intended, make as big a splash as they can with bigger crowds coming to the park. So it's hard to say what the decision, why they made the decision. However, I'm glad they made the decision. The Mock's got the capability of putting in this turntable and increasing the capacity and making this much more park friendly and guest friendly by keeping the lines moving. So I'm glad that they've done this.
This is the ride, aside from maybe, the two big coasters that we're looking at next year and maybe Pantheon. I'm so excited to see what this does when this opens in 2022, especially now that the turntable's there and all that. It's really exciting. The audience kind of split, though. I thought there would be more people saying this is a must ride, but only 8% saying must ride, 38% saying looks decent, 31% saying could be better, and 23% of our audience wants to skip the Aquaman Power Wave. What's wrong with you guys?
They don't even want to ride it. Okay.
Wow. Unless
this is squishy underwear averse people.
That's got to be it. That's the only reason.
Convinced them, I think. Yeah.
I mean, because it's got a
walking
big
around the park with your shoes going squash squash.
Yeah,
it's no fun.
it's a big roller coaster drop, and plus, I want to see how fast that water whooshes in. That's what I want to see. That to me is cool.
Yeah, maybe this could be a really fun one to watch.
Yes.
Right? We talk about that all the time. Where there's certain rides, certain roller coasters, like that 4D coaster, where you want to just watch it. You don't necessarily want to ride it, and maybe Aquaman Power Wave is one of those.
Yeah.
That last pass is going to be at 62 miles an hour, so we're talking about a pretty powerful impact.
Cool stuff. I like the mock rides, man. It's good stuff. That's good stuff. Well, we want to take a quick break here before we jump into some more 2021 rides to tell you guys about a couple of shows that are coming up in the next 2 weeks. This is one of our favorite seasons of the year because we get to talk with Arthur. That's always one of our favorite shows. And then we're really trying to make these interactive, especially you see on the show that we're recording this week, a lot of people interacting and telling us what they think of all these new rides. Next week, EB, it's time for Hot or Not. That's another favorite.
Hot or Not. And this is going to be a lot of fun. Just like this week's episode of CoasterRadio.com, the live looking is going to be really important for Hot or Not. So next Tuesday night, we are going to be welcoming all of the listeners to watch the show live and help us decide what is hot and what is not. And this is a very interactive episode of CoasterRadio.com, isn't it?
Yeah, and the more people that we have, the better it is. Because if it's like one dude sitting out there with his smartphone hitting
I decide.
Like if we say Six Flags Hot or Not and he gets to decide, it's not fair. So we need as many of you as possible. But this is really something that we're trying to push, is to get more people to watch the show as it's recorded live and interact. And then after that, in 2 weeks, we've got, I think, one of the things that's going to be the most fun. It's our 600th episode of CoasterRadio.com.
That's bonkers.
I cannot believe we've done 600 episodes. I can't believe it. Yeah, this is episode 598, Arthur. Can you believe that? That's how many we've done.
Guys, I've been there since episode 1.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
That's true.
That's true. We may have to have you on that show or have you record something to say, like, what have you learned? Like, what is it that like throughout 15 years has been like the thing that has stood the test of time with the show? It might be interesting to see because you've been there since the first one. That could be interesting.
I'll have to give that some thought.
Yeah.
Well, and that's going to be something fun on the 600th episode, Mike, is we're really going to be looking back. We are going to play a game show, the most ambitious game show in CoasterRadio.com history. It's called The Last Fan Standing. So, Arthur, you probably are going to be like an audio question or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
In this Last Fan Standing game show. So the next 2 episodes of the CoasterRadio.com CoasterRadio.com podcast are really important. We really do want you guys to participate in the interactivity, but also with the live aspect. So don't just wait for the show to land in your feed. Join us Tuesday nights at 9:30 in these next 2 Tuesdays for the Hot or Not episode of CoasterRadio.com, plus the 600th episode with that Last Fan Standing game show. It's going to be so much fun.
Yeah, and just real quick, the Last Fan Standing, did you ever play HQ Trivia, EB?
Yes. Okay.
That it's exactly that.
where we have to have the live audience participating.
Yeah. But everyone will be able to get out their smartphone.
Everyone.
Yeah. Like log in, and then we keep playing until there's one last listener standing who has answered.
This is not like we have to pick like two fans to go head to head or a couple of people to call in and be a part of the show. This is everyone who participates. Live.coasterradio.com has the potential to win the last fan standing.
Yeah. So what's going to happen is you answer questions. If you get it wrong, you're out. But if you get it right, you keep answering questions until there's one person left. And then that person gets some fabulous prize, which you and I have to figure out this week, EB. But it's going to be a big one for the 600th episode. Should be good.
Oh, we'll open up the prize closet. This is going to be a lot of fun. And I think, Mike, I'm going to play this game too.
You should. You should do it.
I'm going to win it myself.
Yeah.
I think you should give away a Monte Carlo.
A JetBlue Monte Carlo. Oh, that might be a good trivia question.
Style.
That could be it. We'll see. All right, so let's get back into some 2021 rides. A ride I was really hoping to ride last year, but did not get a chance to. Oh, I'm sorry. Wait, there was one I forgot. The Sidewinder Safari at Six Flags Discovery Kingdom. I can't believe I forgot that one. That was the next one up here. But yeah, that's one that might be postponed to 2022 as well.
Right, and as you can see, this is, or the people who are watching can see, a lot of people are listening to this as an audio podcast and wondering what the hell I'm talking about here. It's a wild mouse with spinning cars from Zamperla. It's a family ride, 43 feet tall, 29 miles per hour. Not a barn burner of a coaster, but postponed till 2022.
Yeah. Why do you have to skip this? You just put up a spinning wild mouse.
I know. Why? Yeah. Why can't that just be up right now? It seems like that's something they could build over a weekend.
They're assuming they're not going to open. This is a California park, and California is not looking good for 2021.
Yeah.
And I think they want to use it as a marketing tool to make a splash when they can get the maximum return on their investment. So they're hedging their bets and they're putting it off till 2022. I think it's a business decision.
Yeah, and every park should have a wild mouse, I think, but our audience, not too excited. 63% saying skip it.
Yeah, it's fine.
25% saying looks decent, though. That's all right. It's all right by me. All right, so as I was saying, my home park, Busch Gardens, Williamsburg, a ride I was so looking forward to riding last year because it was built and ready to go, and then COVID came along and kept us from it. But hey, 2021 might be the year. I am looking forward to some Pantheon at Busch Gardens, Williamsburg.
Now, Mike, you said before that Icebreaker at SeaWorld Orlando might be kind of a sleeper, might be a coaster that sort of goes under the radar and may become one that actually is in contention for one of the best ones of the year. That may or may not be true, but I think that Pantheon, in my mind, is one of those under the radar coasters, not getting a lot of attention, but man, this ride looks great.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, we're talking about a 73 mile per hour launched coaster, which will make it the world's fastest multi-launch coaster. It is going to have a 178-foot tall spike. There are going to be two inversions, a 95-degree drop. It's an Intamin Blitz coaster. I love these coasters like Maverick at Cedar Point and Cheetah Hunt at Busch Gardens, Tampa. I think that this could be one of the ones that'll kind of slip through the cracks, and people are going to start raving about it once it opens.
Yeah, there's so many things to like about this, including the dive towards the Rhine River and then that zero-G stall that's in there and just the twists and turns of this. It looks so great. This is a great addition for Busch Gardens. I actually can't believe that they're getting it because it's a giant roller coaster, and there hasn't been a giant roller coaster in years at Busch, but here it is. I love it.
Yeah, I like I said, I think it's going to be great. I find the launch coasters so giddy. I mean, you can't help but break out in an enormous grin every time you enter into another, launch. And this will have multiple launches and looks just great.
Yeah, I'm surprised at our audience. 64% only saying it's a must ride. I don't know how. I just watched the video of it and I was like just getting goosebumps about how great it was, but only 67% saying must ride, 25% saying looks decent, and 8% saying could be better. I wonder what they want to be better, EB. I don't know what that could be.
Oh, this thing looks great. I'm really looking forward to Pantheon. I don't like the theme. I really don't.
True. Oh, I'll give you that.
The theme reminds me. I don't know. This is a deep cut. For coasterradio.com listeners, maybe. But I have a game at home, a board game, Risk Godstorm. It's the game of Risk, but you also play with like Greek gods that give you special powers, and you can send people to Hades. I'm sorry, this is very off topic, but the Risk Godstorm game, and board game people can back me up on this, it's so dumb. And that automatically turned me off to Pantheon.
Yeah, you're like, never mind. Never mind.
Because I don't like the Greek gods, and I don't like the temples, and I don't like I don't like any of that.
Yeah.
So that's already.
But Mike, you and I love Apollo's Chariot. So
yes.
The heck with you, EB.
It does go. It goes along with that, yes, indeed. But it is interesting. I remember when the first renderings of Pantheon came out, and they were talking about how each section of the ride goes along with a different god. But that's not going to translate to the ride experience, right?
No.
It's not like the track color is going to change and you're going to go into a totally different themed environment or whatever, right?
Yeah, and I doubt
right.
that instead of like what we saw in the video, I don't think there's going to be like the coaster running through temples and stuff like that. It's probably just going to be out there in the nicely manicured grass with some flowers. But man, I would like to see that though. That'd be cool. It'd be curious to see once we get there. Like with Verbolten, there was so much story. I'm curious to see what happens when we show up at Pantheon opening day and see if there is any story. But yeah, I'm surprised at our audience.
If you go opening day, I guarantee.
Oh yeah,
there
maybe
will be togas.
I think so. They always have like people dressed up. Maybe if it's toga time, they bring back Fabio, like just to see if something better goes on.
Wouldn't that be fantastic?
I would love
Fabio returns.
I am back this time. I have brought protection.
I'll ride a face mask this time.
Yeah.
COVID. Plus
that would save him from both.
Right.
Oh my gosh. All right, let's stay with the SeaWorld parks. This one is a park out in San Diego. They've got Emperor, which is California's first dive coaster, but I hope maybe they get to open it this year. I guess that's the question. Will we have any California parks open? I don't know.
Yeah, and they're advertising this as California's tallest and fastest dive coaster. This is what I would call sort of a B&M Dive Junior coaster.
Yeah.
It's only, and I put that in quotes, only 143-foot dive, 60 miles an hour. Compare that to Yukon Striker at Canada's Wonderland, which I was able to ride a couple of years ago. That has a 245-foot drop and goes 81 miles per hour. Still, the whole concept of a dive coaster is so cool. The fact that it goes over the precipice and kind of hangs there for a few interminable seconds that seem like eternity, and then you drop straight down. They're great rides, and I think that they have some height limits there at SeaWorld San Diego, so this is the best that they could do. Should be a great ride nonetheless.
Yeah. I don't know why coaster enthusiasts give the dive coasters a bad name, because like look at our polling right here, 38% saying skip it. 38% saying looks decent, while only 13% say it's a must ride. Even though, yes, it is a junior one. I mean, it's not as tall as some of the other ones that we've seen, like Yukon Striker, like you mentioned. But man, I like a good dive coaster. Just it's fun, and it's soothing, sort of. It's like a roller coaster where you can just like sit and kind of forget your worries for a while. I like it.
I don't know. I think dive coasters are a gimmick coaster. I'm on team. Right. I don't like the dive coasters. They don't do it for me.
I'm with you, Mike. I think they're great. And I would imagine, EB, if you or anybody in that group that said skip it happen to be in San Diego for the day and have the chance to go to SeaWorld San Diego, I don't think they're going to walk past Emperor. I think they're going to get on it. I think they're going to love it. That's my thought.
That, by the way, is a beautiful park, just like the one in Orlando. It's just beautiful to walk around. There's, and the beautiful weather in San Diego too. That's a place I like visiting. San Diego. Not only do they have SeaWorld, they've also got a great old wooden roller coaster out there, but they've also got great tiki bars too. We all need that. We need more of that in our lives. Right. So that's where I'm headed as soon as COVID is over. Going out to San Diego. Hopefully this ride will be open. We'll see. All right, hey, this is what I'm excited about. I think, as far as I know, at Disney California Adventure, Arthur, tell me if I'm wrong. I'm not sure. Isn't Avengers Campus like ready to go? They're just waiting for California Adventure to open, because the big ride there, of course, is Web Slingers, a Spider-Man adventure.
I think this was ready to go last year, and they had to just close the park. And even though it was everything was ready to go, this ride is going to kind of be like Lego Ninjago, the ride at Legoland, in that it will be interactive, but you're going to use hand gestures to to sling webs like Spider-Man, and you're going to help him to collect spider bots. So the idea of just using your hands to sling webs without having to have any kind of a device or a trigger or anything is really cool, I think. And it'd be interesting to have, a Spider-Man ride at a Disney park where we already have a Spider-Man ride at a Universal park. Be curious to see how they sort of compare and contrast. There's going to be some other really cool things coming to Avengers Campus, including the Stuntronic Spider-Man, this autonomous animatronic that's going to jump or leap from the top of buildings, from one building to another.
Right.
There's going to be a phase 2 of Avengers Campus where they're going to be getting the Avengers Quinjet ride, which will really be the signature attraction. So the Web Slingers Spider-Man Adventure is kind of the sidekick ride, even though that's going to debut first. So Disney's doing some great stuff with the Avengers at Disney California Adventure. And hopefully they're going to get to open sooner than later. And as you said, Mike, it's really ready to go. It's just kind of a matter of getting approval from the state so that they can open and hopefully open with maximum capacity.
Yeah.
The ride's going to be cool too, by the way. It's going to have physical sets as well as virtual media, and there'll be practical effects as well. So should be a good ride.
Yeah. I think this thing has a few things that are against it at the moment. Number one, we watched a video as we were talking about it here with Tom Holland, the actor who plays Spider-Man, kind of shooting the pre-show video, it looks like, against a green screen, but then actually in a mock-up of a car showing kind of what you do with your hands, doing the gestures and stuff. I think people aren't understanding if that's going to be good or bad, but I think the real thing this has going against us for theme park fans is that one of the best theme park rides in the world is on the East Coast at Islands of Adventure, and it's the Amazing Adventures of Spider-Man. And so there's going to be competition and comparisons back and forth between these. And I wonder if the Imagineers even thought about that as they were putting this together. But it's going to happen regardless of if they're two completely different ride systems.
There's no way that they couldn't have thought of that.
Yeah.
Of course, it's nothing like it, which is smart. It would be really silly to try to do something very similar. And the fact that it's interactive and that it has this unique hand gesture system, I think will make it unique in its own right.
Yeah. So look at the audience polling here. It's kind of split right down in fourths. 21% saying must ride, 29% saying looks decent, 29% saying looks better, but 21% would skip it, which is shocking to me that you would skip an e-ticket at any point,
It's shocking to me as well. It's funny. If I was participating in this poll, I would just immediately go to must ride on everything because that's just the way I am.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
I love everything. I want to try everything. That's why I've been doing this for decades, why I love it, and why I get excited every year when we get together and talk about what the coming year will bring.
Yeah.
I think maybe the reaction to Web Slingers is that people aren't sure what it's going to be, right? I think that's
true.
Exactly what we've been talking about. Is this going to be something amazing, or is it going to be Lego Ninjago where I just throw things at the screen with my hands?
Yeah. As a new dad, here's one that I'm excited about. Cute little picture we're putting on the screen right now of the dragon, and there's also the Dragon's Apprentice that's going to be opening at Legoland New York. I think people are going to be excited for that park.
Yeah, the coasters, Legoland calls them pink knuckle coasters. These are not extreme. These are not extreme coasters, but the bigger one is the Dragon. It's going to be 55 feet tall. Go 35 miles an hour. It is going to go into a Lego themed castle. There will be some scenes that people will see. They have similar coasters at other Legoland parks. The Dragon's Apprentice is just a little kiddie coaster. But we're talking about the opening of an entire new theme park in Goshen, New York, north of New York City.
Yeah.
And so that is really the thing that gets me the most excited, not necessarily the coasters. And among the rides, the attractions that will be at Legoland New York will be Lego Ninjago, the ride that we were just talking about, a Triotech ride. And also what I'm most excited about is the Lego Factory Adventure ride, which will be a dock ride where you see how they make the Lego blocks. But you're going to be converted to a minifigure during the course of the ride. I had a chance to check out this technology at IAPA a couple of years ago, and it's really cute. The system is smart enough to kind of get, the shape of your face and whether you're wearing glasses and the color of your hair, and it renders this Lego minifigure of you that you get to sort of get shrunk down to the size of this minifigure as you go through the factory and see how the bricks are made. Fun. So it's very cute and should be quite unique and quite intriguing.
Yeah. So 55% looking at the Dragon at Legoland saying it looks decent. So I think everybody would get on this and get the credit. Looks fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's good. All right, let's move to Universal Studios Hollywood. EB, you were there. You were there not too long ago, and their new ride is The Secret Life of Pets Off the Leash.
Yeah, another ride that's an IP from way back in my memory. Does anybody remember Secret Life of Pets?
I never saw it. I've never seen it. Yep.
What are we doing with this?
I've never seen it either.
Yeah. Why?
They must have done research somewhere to say like, hey, this is big with kids or something. So
8-year-olds are going to love it. And we got a lot of 8-year-olds coming through the park.
It looks like a cute ride, though.
It's a little similar to the ride I was just talking about at Legoland, in that you're going to be converted or changed into a stray puppy, and you're looking to be adopted, hoping to be adopted. That's kind of the story of the ride. And again, this will have actual practical sets, animatronic characters, as well as projected media, which of course Universal is well known for.
Oh, yes. So, 67% of the audience saying it looks decent, while 33% saying skip it. Oh, look, it just jumped. This is what I love. It moves as we talk, and as people are kind of changing their votes and stuff. But, 25% saying skip it. But I think if those 25% were at Universal, they'd ride it. They would.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Well, speaking of out-of-date IP, Mike.
this is old school, but I'm looking forward to riding this one, too. I know we talked about it last year. It's Remy's Ratatouille Adventure.
Why are they building this? I don't understand why they take these old movies that people kind of remember and build attractions out of them.
They needed a French ride in the French Pavilion. I think that's why. Yes, that's what they needed. And it's the only French IP that Disney has.
Well, the Hunchback, I don't know.
That's true. I would like a good that has some good songs. You could have a good Hunchback dark ride. That could be cool.
Not whatever. The thing that looks really cool about this is the fact that you are shrunk down and you're small. You are mouse or rat sized, and you're going through the kitchen. The pictures that we've seen of this, they do look really cool. It does look fun.
It does. And it's going to use trackless vehicles, which we've seen a lot on Disney rides recently. You'll be sort of trampled underfoot in the kitchen as you're making your way through Gusto's restaurant. And speaking of the Hunchback of Notre Dame, which I agree was a great movie, an old school 2D animated Disney film. Disney World, I believe it was at Disney's Hollywood Studios, had a wonderful stage show, one of the best, if not maybe the best they ever did. I was so sorry to see that close, but that's just a little aside.
But and I'm watching video of this right now. It's the first time I've seen video inside, I guess, the attraction in Paris. And it looks
I've only seen pictures.
It looks fun. Actually, now that I'm seeing it, I want to kind of check it out. So, it looks good. Let's take a look at the audience. 58% saying must ride, 33% saying looks decent. So that's getting some higher ratings here at Coaster Radio,
sure.
which is good.
After you did such a great job selling it, Mike.
Maybe so. Maybe that was it.
Well, here's another one, Mike, that we've talked kind of down about. Like, we don't know what this thing is. It's retro. It's old school. But maybe for the local audience, it's going to be cool. The Knott's Berry Tales at Knott's Berry Farm.
Yeah, and even the video that they released really harkens back to an era at Knott's Berry Farm and shows a lot of old pictures, but there's no video from inside the ride itself yet that we've seen.
Well, it is going to be a throwback to a ride that was designed by Raleigh Crump, who was a former Disney Imagineer. It will pay pay homage to the original Knott's Berry Tales. But unlike that ride, it will not have animatronic characters or practical sets. I believe it's going to be all screen-based from Triotech. I think this is going to be great. I think the Voyage to the Iron Reef, which is the ride that preceded this, was very dark, kind of foreboding. Not really for little kids.
Right.
Where this will be for the entire family. There's going to be some really cute things in there. You're going to have a jelly blaster. It'll be interactive. You're going to be trying to score points, and also there's going to be the smell of boysenberry pie that you're going to experience in there. So I think it'll be cute. I think for long-time Knott's Berry Farm fans, people who lived in Southern California for a long time and remember this ride when it was there many years ago, there'll certainly be a nostalgia factor, and then kids from today will certainly get, I think, more of a kick out of it than they would from Voyage to the Iron Reef.
Yeah. I was actually I didn't like the theme of that Triotech ride, but I liked the ride system, and I thought that was kind of cool, especially how you can put a bunch of people and interact with each other, on the big bench that you're on. I'm looking forward to this. I think this will be fun, and kids will have a blast with this, with those characters. 36% of the audience saying must ride, 45% say looks decent. So I think that's great. That's probably right what Knott's Berry Farm would expect, I think, as well. Yeah, that's good. Hey, I want to go down to Myrtle Beach because there's a little park called the Funplex, and we've got a great shot of it here on the live look-in webcast. But the roller coaster, I think, that we're all excited to see in action is called Fun in the Sun. And we saw this at IAPA. It's that hamster wheel roller coaster that made really such a big splash.
I did not get to ride this, but I did get to see it. It is a really unusual coaster. Most of the cars spin horizontally like they do on a traditional spinning coaster. And then it looks like this has two what are known as the hamster wheel cars, where they rotate vertically, kind of like a little mini Ferris wheel. I'll tell you, when this thing, it doesn't continually rotate. It only rotates once per as it goes through each time it goes through the course, it rotates once. And before it does that, it makes this incredible racket. Unless SBF has fixed it, it just makes this enormous noise before it starts rotating. It's, again, one of those Jiffy Pop rides that's really, really fun to watch, I think, from the midway. I'm not sure what it would feel like to be in the hamster wheel as you're riding along and then rotating vertically. But man, is it goofy looking to watch.
Yeah, there was a blogger who did a Facebook Live immediately after riding it, and they said it felt a little rough. And so maybe it's changed. Maybe it's gone back to the drawing board a little bit before it gets to the Funplex. But this is one of those, I'd give it a shot. I'd give it a shot in that hamster wheel just to say I did it.
Sure.
It's going to be interesting to see how Funplex in general does at Myrtle Beach, because Myrtle Beach it's seen parks come and go.
It has.
Is there enough audience to have Funplex make it? They've got a lot of good rides, like you said, good rides to look at. Maybe it will attract people enough to come in, buy tickets, and go to the park to keep it alive. But I don't know if Myrtle Beach is big enough to even sustain a small park like Funplex.
Yeah, and it is brand new, so it'll be interesting to see what happens. The Myrtle Beach Pavilion, I think a lot of old timers miss that park that used to be there. Of course, Hard Rock Park never quite made it, and just wasn't able to make a go of it. So yeah, the investment here is considerably less than Hard Rock Park. We'll see what happens.
They've got a restaurant and a walk-up bar too. So maybe that brings in some people who, I don't want to ride the hamster wheel, but I'll have a drink. Especially if they've got some, signature drinks, who knows?
Hey. And I'm assuming this is not going to be a gated park where you're going to pay one price and then get to ride. I assume it's going to be free admission and you'll pay by the ride. So people just kind of hanging out at the beach and looking for something fun to do. I think there'll be a lot of incentive just to kind of check it out anyways.
Yeah. I do like how the roller coaster goes on the perimeter of the park, though. That's cool.
That's always cool. Yeah. A sightseeing coaster is always fun.
Yeah, that's neat. So that's neat. So I'm looking forward to that. 30% of the audience saying it's a must ride. So that's good. 50% saying looks decent. While 20% is saying they'd skip it. But I think anybody who says they're going to skip something, if that roller coaster is there and you've got a day at Myrtle Beach, you're going to ride it. You're going to, especially just for the credit. So here's in your backyard, EB, at Indiana Beach. It's an unnamed roller coaster, but it's the former Chimera from Mexico, and there it is. We've got a shot of it up on the thing. So, EB, is this one you're going to ride? Are you gonna hop on board and check this out?
I do want to get up and ride this thing because I've ridden these coasters in the past, the same sort of roller coaster at both Six Flags Frontier City and at Lagoon Park. They have these same coasters, and I would love to get up to Indiana Beach to ride this one.
This is a Schwarzkopf coaster. Unfortunately, the company no longer exists. It was built in 1984 as a traveling ride for the German Fair circuit. One of the things that Schwarzkopf is kind of known for, it pulls enormous Gs.
Yeah.
Even though it's not all that tall, 111 feet tall, 53 miles an hour, it pulls 4.7 Gs, which is pretty considerable. You really feel it when you're on these rides. People love Schwarzkopf coasters. I think this is going to be a signature ride, certainly at Indiana Beach, and showing that the new management there is committed to making a go of it. And so I applaud them.
Yeah. I rode a Schwarzkopf similar to this at Dorney Park back in the day when they had it. And I remember that did pull G's, EB. I remember that thing. It was something else.
And I hope Indiana Beach is going to really love this ride. I mean, they bought it and they moved it all the way up from Mexico. So you've got to think that they really do love it. So put it together, put it in a good spot, make it pretty, paint it up real nice, and show it some good operations.
Yeah.
Indiana Beach really needs to work on their operations. So make this ride really good. And like Arthur was saying, it's going to make people really recognize that Indiana Beach is under new management and things are going to be better up at Indiana Beach.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a ride that the Coaster Radio audience likes. 54% saying it's a must ride, while 23% say it looks decent. So I think they're going to get the coaster enthusiast element up there at Indiana Beach. Check it out for sure. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. All right. We've come to the final ride of our look ahead to 2021. And so we started with the big one. We're going to end with the big one. We're going to talk about Iron Gwazi at Busch Gardens, Tampa Bay. A ride people have been waiting for, Arthur.
Yeah, including me. I had the good fortune of debuting the point of view video on USA Today a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
And here it is. We're looking at it right now on the live look-in. What a fabulous ride. For anybody who's been on any of these RMC hybrid rides, you know that they're wonderful. This will be the tallest hybrid in North America. It will be the longest drop in the world at 206 feet for a hybrid coaster or an RMC hybrid. A 91-degree drop, making it the steepest hybrid. And looks like it's going to be a fabulous ride. The obvious comparison here is to Steel Vengeance.
Yeah.
It's not much, but it is shorter than Steel Vengeance. So it kind of, in comparison, will not be as long. But it will be taller. It will be faster. It will be steeper. It will have 12 airtime moments. These hyper hybrids, man, Steel Vengeance was just an amazing experience.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to get on Iron Gwazi. One thing I wanted to bring up that I just don't understand at all, this thing is being advertised as having a 48-inch height limit, which makes absolutely no sense to me.
Yeah, right.
It is obviously an extreme coaster, over 200 feet tall, 76 miles an hour, inversions. How they came up with this 48-inch height limit, I have no idea.
Yeah.
You're going to have some awfully brave little kids that will want to get on this thing. I mean, obviously they're going to do everything they can to make sure it's safe, but just in terms of maturity, I guess it'll be up to parents to determine whether little kids will be able to handle this.
Yeah. And, you mentioned comparisons. There's definitely going to be the comparison to Steel Vengeance at Cedar Point. Although, there are similarities, but it kind of seems like two different ride experiences altogether. There are different elements and whatnot, but there's definitely going to be that from the Cedar Point diehards and, people who want anything other than Cedar Point. But then, of course, in this coming year, there's going to be the comparison to Velocicoaster, which is, 80 miles or so north.
Also in Florida, right.
Yeah, so it's going to be really interesting to see what people enjoy more. And I think Velocicoaster and Iron Gwazi are also different experiences too. But it's going to be fun to see once people start riding both to see which ones they like.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say that these are the two most anticipated coasters of 2021. Yeah. Which one will be better? Who knows? I have to believe that the SeaWorld folks must have started to see the track going up at Islands of Adventure and were like, man.
Yes. Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
I thought we owned, well, it was supposed to be 2020, right? Yep. This thing was supposed to open last year.
Could have, yeah.
And man, look, there they go, building Velocicoaster. But hey, if you're a true coaster fan and you're going down, like you guys are, right? You're talking about having your meetup down there. You're going to hit both parks, and maybe that'll be the case for true coaster fans who are heading down to Orlando. I can't imagine myself or a true coaster fan going to Universal, checking out Velocicoaster, and not making the whatever it is, hour and 15-minute ride down to Tampa to check this one out.
Yeah. And let's think back. I know it was about an hour ago, but we talked about Velocicoaster and we did the poll here. Wasn't it right about at 80% too? Because I'm looking, Iron Gwazi is at 80% must ride. I think it was right around there, wasn't it?
No, I think it was 100%.
Oh, was 100? You're right. It was 100%. So look, now that you're right. You're absolutely right. Because look, it's 80% must ride, 7% looks decent, 13% saying could be better.
Yeah,
interesting.
One thing I'm a little surprised about. This, of course, used to be Gwazi. It was a twin track coaster. I was thinking that when I heard that they were going to make the RMC conversion, that this might be like Twisted Colossus at Six Flags Magic Mountain, which also was a twin track coaster, which they converted into this Mobius coaster where you go up the lift hill twice and you have the two drops. They went a completely different route. Alan Schilke decided to do something totally different here.
Right.
But I was thinking that because it was a twin track coaster, that they had the real estate to do something longer than what we're seeing. We're talking still, it's a 4,075 foot long coaster. It's not like it's short. It's just compared to Steel Vengeance, which is 5,740 feet. It comes up short.
Yeah.
That probably, again, you've got your very smart audience here. When they say it could be better, they're probably looking at that length of Steel Vengeance and saying, why couldn't this be as long as that and give me that much longer ride experience? So I'm guessing that may have something to do with it.
So we took a look at 22 different attractions here in America, and we're going to do a show later on taking a look at Europe and Asia and Australia. So that's coming up for all of our international listeners. But here's the final question for tonight that we're asking our live audience. How excited are you for the 2021 season after what you just heard? And so we're going to see, guys, as we talk here a little bit about the season. And Arthur, you talked about how there's such great things coming, not only in 2021, but beyond. But right now we're going to see what the audience thinks about, how excited they are. And right now, nobody's
I'm just going to stay home, Mike. Last year I really enjoyed not being able to go to the parks. It was great. So I'm going to vote no. I don't want to go to the parks.
Yeah.
100%. If we are not getting 100% vote on very excited to go to the parks,
turn in your coaster credentials. Come on, guys.
What are you doing?
Yeah, right now 78% saying very excited, 22% saying somewhat excited.
Somewhat excited. I don't know.
Yeah, are you upset? Yeah, I think people are like, tepid about it. They don't want to dip their toe.
But get excited.
Yeah,
be positive.
Yeah. Well, Arthur, I liked your State of the Industry address at the beginning. That got me excited. They got me excited about things.
Hey, we started talking about Coney Island. Maybe if it's okay with you guys, we could end talking about Coney Island.
Yeah,
we've knocked this around for years now. We've said that we've known each other for a long time. We meet virtually via audio and now video. We've never met in person. We've talked about getting together at the meetups. It's never happened. We tried to do it one year, I think at King's Dominion, and it just didn't work out.
Yep.
But if you guys can make it up to Coney Island, and I know you may have some compelling reasons to get there, not the least of which is Phoenix at Dino's Wonder Wheel Park. I will be there. Oh. And I heard you talking to Dino about getting to operate the coaster. He sounded like he was more than willing to let you do it.
Yeah.
I want to be there right with you. I want to give the thumbs up. I want to push the button.
Oh, yes.
I want to be part of the crew with you guys. to operate Phoenix, and I bet Dino could make it happen. So if you can commit to getting up there, whether it's for a meetup or not, I'm going to say that I'll be there. It's sort of in my backyard here, so I want to do it.
See, and that made me hit the button on my phone that said very excited. I'm very excited for the season if we can do that.
No, that's great. Now, I want Arthur to hit the button to launch you and me, Mike, and then we can hit the button to launch Arthur.
Yeah, see, that's what we can do. We can each take turns riding. Yeah, like each of us hitting the big green button to go. I like that.
Yeah, then you can wave at me as I go by the station. That'd be great.
See, this is going to be so good.
I'm there. I'm going to do it.
Exactly.
See, man, there is so much great stuff to look forward to here in the 2021 season. And Arthur, it's always so great to have you here because we do this here in the cold of winter, but it kind of just gets us excited, for what's going to come up. And
for sure.
And we are all owed good things this year, I think. I really do.
We are. I think all the misery that we've gone through, it kind of puts it in stark relief. It's going to make it all the sweeter when we can return to the park. We can take the friggin' mess and throw them in the basket, get on the roller coaster. I am going to have the biggest cathartic scream the first time I get on a roller coaster and have a maskless, just exhilarating scream.
Yes,
I can't wait to
and
do
not it. Right. The most nervous part of the ride should be the lift hill, not the lack of social distancing in the queue.
Yes,
that's right. That would make me way more jittery than Velocicoaster.
Yeah, I love it.
For sure.
Well, Arthur, before we let you go, I mean, all of our listeners know who you are, but for like the one or two who don't, tell us where we can get in touch with you, where we can see your writings, and where people can. You've got a great newsletter too that I love when it comes into my email.
The easiest way to find out what I'm doing is to go to aboutthemeparks.net. That's my website. You can sign up for my newsletter, as you just said, Mike, and periodically, once a month or so, I send out a newsletter and give kind of an overview of all the different articles that I've written and all the things that are going on. You can also check me out on Twitter at About Theme Parks. I have a small Facebook presence as well on About Theme Parks, mostly Twitter. You can see me on USA Today and Trip Savvy, but the easiest way to connect is at aboutthemeparks.net.
Fantastic. This is always such a treat to have you on the show. EB and I talk about it when you're not here and say how great it is, and it's one of our favorite episodes. And by the numbers that we get on this episode, it's always one of the most downloaded episodes of the year, and that's due to you. And people know what they're going to get when you're a guest on the show, so we appreciate it.
Well, that's great of you to say that. I enjoy listening to you every week, and it's an honor and a pleasure for me to be a guest on the show. I love what you guys do, and you kind of keep me connected to the industry, especially in the heart of the winter. So keep up the great work. And as I say every year, it's great to get the band back together and look at the year ahead. And I'm glad we got to do it. COVID be damned, right?
That's right. That's right. Go. I like that you tweeted that before we started tonight. You said, "Hey, COVID will not stop this tradition." So I like that. Right. I like that so much.
Very good. Also, so, Arthur, thank you. Yeah, no. I wanted to say yes. Arthur is our tradition for the new episodes of CoasterRadio.com every new year. But Hot or Not is coming up next, Mike.
Yeah.
And then beyond that, 600th episode of CoasterRadio.com with the Last Fan Standing game show. These are two really big interactive game episodes of CoasterRadio.com, just like this episode was tonight.
Yeah, I'm so looking forward to that. It's so fun. And thank you, Arthur, for being a part of this interactive episode, but also thanks to all the listeners who are out there right now at the Live Look-In webcast. Remember, every Tuesday night at 9:30 p.m., you can go to live.coasterradio.com or check us out on our Facebook page. That's where you can watch us, all the behind-the-scenes stuff. If you watch tonight, you saw there was a lot of behind the scenes as we were trying to get all the technology working. It's kind of fun to see all the behind the scenes stuff. So we appreciate that. We also appreciate everybody who supports the show, no matter how you do it. A lot of people do their shopping at Amazon and go to coasterradio.com first before they do that. A lot of people are nice and give us cool reviews on iTunes that gets people finding the show. And then we've got new listeners who, constantly come in with new content. That's a big help. But we also appreciate the people who help us out at patreon.com/coasterradio.
That's right. There are perks, bonus content, and more. Go to patreon.com/coasterradio to find about all about more. And we also want to say a special thank you to those at the $20 level over at patreon.com/coasterradio. Those are Alan Bergfield, Brian Cosson, Charlie and Jesse Brooks, Chris Franken, our friends at Club Z, Colton from the theme park, Cynthia, Dan Dyler, Dan the T-shirt guy, David Zakala, David Iwanowicz, Grace, Greg Delaney, John Brody, Josh Combs, Jumbo Shrimp, Karen and Lee Howerin, Keith Nettles, Kevin Wilson, Made to Thrill, Marshall the Big Easy Hider, and Matt from Yorkshire.
Also, Michael Foucault, Mikey Mayo, Paulo de los Reyes, Rick Burnley, Timmy Young, Tom from Louisville, and Zachary Carpenter.
Yes, and a big shout out to our honorary executive producers, Slater, Todd Houts, and Brian Wackler. Go to patreon.com/Coaster Radio to find out about perks, bonus content, and more, all available to you with a pledge of as little as $1 a month.
That's right. And we talked about a lot of exciting stuff tonight, but I think the takeaway, the big news, is that you can find that Arthur, me, and EB are going to be operating the Phoenix at Coney Island this year. Come on out. And put your lives in our hands. I think that's
got the thumbs up, ready to go.
There you go. That's great. Arthur, thanks again so much for being here. Yeah, it's going to be so good. It's going to be great. Arthur, thanks again. Have a great season here in 2021.
Thank you, guys. And you too.
And EB, I will see you next week.
See you.